Thank you all for joining us. Good evening. I want to thank each and every one of you for being here tonight at our citywide Positive Interaction Program. And I'm Sergeant Lehar out of the Community Engagement Unit. It's an honor to guide us through tonight's program. Tonight, we're focusing on two major quality of life issues that impact neighborhoods all across Houston: illegal dumping and prostitution. These are two topics that affect safety, pride, and the overall health of our community, so I appreciate you for showing up, being engaged, and being part of the solution. PIP is about partnership, communication, and transparency, and tonight is another opportunity for us to grow stronger together. At this time, we're going to begin with an invocation. So Chaplain Johnson, the floor is yours. Just saw Chaplain Johnson. All right, he's over there. He gonna mic you real quick. Boom. There you go.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Sergeant Johnson. I serve as the chaplain of the Houston Police Department. I'm excited to be here today. For one, I've been involved with the PIP for about 15 years now. And for two, this is my community because I pastor a church in this community. Amen. And so I look forward to coming fellowshipping with you and you seeing my face and I see your face. Amen.
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 If you haven't done so yet, would you tell the person next to you how blessed they are just because they're sitting next to you?
That's right, you're blessed. You guys are really blessed that I know I am, man. God is good. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Would you pray with me?
Yes.
Our Father and our God, we thank you for this moment together. We thank you for the relationship and the partnership that the Houston Police Department has with the community. Again, we ask that you be present, that your spirit be here with us, leading us and guiding us. We thank you for the meal that we are receiving, and we pray that it be nourishment for our bodies. Again, we pray that everything here be done decently and in order, and that we continue to uplift your name and thus be as one community, one family, one police department. It is in your son's precious name that we pray and give thanks. Would everyone say amen?
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chaplain Johnson. Tonight, we're blessed to have the leadership here who truly believe in community policing and empowering our neighborhoods. Please help me welcome our Chief of Police, J. Noe Diaz Jr. Chief Diaz will share a few updates and speak on HPD's continued commitment to community partnerships.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Good evening. First and foremost, thank you. Thank you for, can you hear me now? No, not yet? Mic's low? Okay, I'll talk a little louder. Anyway, thank you for giving us this opportunity, coming to visit with such a wonderful community that so supports the police department. It does not go unnoticed. We're very grateful for the partnerships, grateful for the relationships. On behalf of the good Mayor, John Whitmire, who had another commitment, he extends his thanks for the continued support and for your engagement, because without you guys coming here to this event, you don't get to see us So this is something new that we started. So we're actually doing the PIP out in the community, because usually it was downtown where nobody wants to travel downtown because of traffic. So it's important to me that we are always community facing and understanding that we as a department get better when we visit, when we discuss, when we communicate, when we engage, good, bad, or indifferent, because we're a police department that's not perfect. We are always growing, and that's what I look forward, and that's my expectation of the team that we put in this community, that we're serving, not only with our words, but with our hearts and our hands, that we're here to help you, here to grow, and always here to recruit those amongst you that still want to have police career. We're always hiring, right? So it's important to me as the Chief of Police that the community here is represented within this office. I'm very proud of the fact that this office is the most diverse police department in the entire nation, right? That's a big deal. It's something that we celebrate every day because it makes our police department better servants, better listeners, right? So my expectation of the young people that we have now We've hired a lot of folks. I got here, it's been about a year and a half, and we had about 5,100 young people in the department. Now we're nearing 5,400. So we really are working at hiring police. And this station, the Northeast Station, we're almost full, but we're always looking to make sure that we are focused on keeping the department here for you full of staff so we can do what we're supposed to be doing, and that is answering calls, getting to your calls for service quickly, working the accidents, follow up on investigations, and just getting engaged in these kinds of events. It's important to us because we are not the only department within this fantastic city. We're just one piece, right? You have a fantastic fire department. All of the other departments do a great job. And we collectively are here to make sure, like the good mayor says, go to work, right? So serving, it's pretty simple. So as far as an overview of us, we've had a fantastic year. Again, staffing has been great. Our crime is down across the board, all across the city. And that's just not us, that's the community, right? The community is always calling in tips, staying focused. Things in this community that are important to me is the trash, right? The illegal dumping. So you guys know that it's serious. It's very serious to us, to the point where we've added staffing to our environmental crimes to make sure that people don't continually dump in this part of the city. Because for me, it's about equitable police services, right? If they dump in Kingwood, they won't allow it. There'll be people up there in arms upset. If they dump in Clear Lake and other parts of the city, and this community deserves the exact same service. So understand that you can help us. Call in a Crime Stoppers tip. If you see a license plate, I don't want you to go out there and confront anybody, right? But if you get a plate, call the office and we'll address it. And we do, for those people that are listening to my voice, we do have covert equipment now, and we are trying to make a difference to make sure that we're being efficient. If someone does a construction job, I'm just going to say 4 or 5 miles away, and they try to save a little money, and all the construction from the stuff they fixed, they dump it on Tidwell. Right? So it doesn't help this community, and guess who has to pick it up? Solid waste. So we're just continually burning money, your monies, right? Your treasure that you give the department. And if you don't know this, the police department, because of your hard work, has a $1.1 billion budget. Right? So we are always looking for ways to be. 3 things in my day is efficiency, right? So we have to make sure that what we're doing with the resources that you so give us, that you gladly give us, that we're being efficient as an organization. So that is moving people into this community, make sure that the calls for service, and we're just not driving around. We're focused on data-driven results, on results that are impactful in your community. If you have the same young people on your street doing the same things that they're not supposed to be doing, no one knows your street like you do. So if you let us know, then we'll deal with it, right? We will make an effort to support you so that you can live in peace, so you can be safe in your community, so we can all grow together in the community and not have to worry about the crime issues. So I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for the support, the continued support that you give us, and for the amazing work that the people wearing these uniforms do in this community. It's all week, all night, every holiday, every shift. So I'd ask, if they're driving just a little bit too fast, going to a call, give them a little bit of grace, right? Because they're trying to do the very best that they can to get to your call, being responsive. And I ask them to, when you come to your door, to talk to you and not at you, right? Listen first before. It's pretty simple. You know, everybody had a grandmother, right? So listen. So Thank you. I'll answer a couple of questions, good, bad, or indifferent. I'm here for you. So I'll take a couple questions from the crowd. Yes, ma'am.
Will you be increasing the staff at the Lay Road station anytime soon?
So we luckily have 75 cadets inside of the academy now that just started, and we have near 200 to answer. That's a yes question. So we will do an evaluation where we need the most based on call volumes. So if we're getting a lot of calls out here and that's a yes, we'll make sure that Captain French has the adequate staffing. But right now for us it's vehicles, right? We're trying to really increase our vehicles and our capacity. And I'll give you an example. Right now, our calls for service, priority 1 calls, are just under 6 minutes, right? In comparison, Dallas is over 12 minutes, right? That's the next largest city. So that's the kind of results that we really want to see. I don't think we'll have a 2-minute response because that would require 10,000 police officers. But every day, just to give you an example, the city has 2.3-ish million people in it. Every day, over 700,000 people travel into the city of Houston from the suburbs. Right? Chicago has 11,000 police officers. That's the next nearest sized city. So for me, it's important that you kind of get a visual of that. So every morning, every day, that's why traffic's congested, because the suburbs consume our police department. But to answer your question, yes, we'll staff it. Yes, madam.
Sorry. So I'm Huey German Wilson, Super Neighborhood President here in Trinity Houston Gardens.
Yes, ma'am.
And we're having a huge problem with Airbnbs,
Yes.
throwing parties daily.
Right.
It used to be a weekend thing. Now it's starting basically on Wednesday,
Right.
going through to Monday. And we're actually very concerned that when FIFA happens, people that come from other cities, this thing is just going to grow exponentially.
Right.
And I know the city has some new ordinances
Right.
around that, but how are we to address that?
Well, the Airbnb as a company has a tip line, right? So you can call them because every now and then we'll get a flyer, so there's going to be a party at an address on Scott Street, as an example. And then if they send it, then Airbnb will cancel the reservations. In fact, the young man that had the shooting at the Airbnb in 3rd Ward during the holidays, we just caught him a little while ago. So we're focused on it. So it's not something that we don't not know about. We're focused on it, but we need your help. If you see a flyer online, on social media, on Instagram, whatever you got to let us know.
Well, we're not seeing the flyers.
Right.
We're living the nightmare.
Right. No, I get it.
Shooting in our yards.
I got it.
Over the Christmas break, we had them throwing. There were parties going on at each of the Airbnbs
Right.
that we didn't even know were Airbnbs until the shooting started. And my neighbor ran to my house and could not go home because they were walking up and down the street with artillery. It wasn't just a pistol. It was
Right.
our
It was
major
real
artillery.
stuff, right.
We called the police out and you guys responded, but we don't know these things until they happen. And so we've had the shooting happening. That's been going on for a long time.
Yes, ma'am.
But the shooting where they seem to be playing, like they were out doing some military training exercises or something.
Right.
And then when the police came, they all went back into the party, and then they came back out when the police left. So
It's-
there's no way for us to anticipate it, and I'm hesitant that's going to be difficult for
It's
you.
tough for us, but you have to keep calling us, right? Because we will get engaged through these city ordinances to make sure that they're following the city ordinance. Because I think if I'm an owner of an Airbnb, I don't want to release it to one person or 2 people and then they tear my house up. Because that's what happens, right? And then it just gets more expensive, and the deposit that you put down for it won't fix all the damage to the residents. But we hear you. Just keep calling us, and we'll try to do our very best. We understand that that's something that needs to be addressed because it's all over. The ordinances that were passed recently will address it, and we're growing with it because for us it's not always about immediate compliance. We want to educate. We want to communicate with people. And then the last resort for us is the compliance, because we don't want to be seen as an organization that's just heavy-handed. We want to make sure that we're communicating and we're trying to understand what the problem is. And that's why we brought this to you, and you guys didn't have to drive all the way downtown, right? For us, it's important we get better as an organization, as a police department, and I get better listening, right? So it's just one of those things that's important to us. Thank you for the question.
Chief, I've got a
Yes,
question.
ma'am.
The sex trafficking / prostitution problem that is spreading that we've seen, because Bissonnette might be cleared out, but a lot of that activity from airline, you guys are doing amazing. However, the stuff travels. So we've been dealing with that for years. There was a time when they actually installed cameras right there off of Dodson and Tidwell. Those cameras, I don't know who provided them, but they were there, and then they went away. So we're dealing with pimps slapping women in the middle of the night with in wheelchairs. We've got pimps chasing people. We've got the Johns, holding up traffic. We see little kids getting on school buses, and there's a half-dressed woman walking with no underwear on right in the same area where the kids are loading on the bus. What is happening with that? I know you guys are working towards that. Can you tell people what's going on?
Well, just recently we had our team did a sting, and we arrested over 25 Johns.
Okay.
Right, so we're focused on it because the Bissonnette issue was more flash and splash. Because guess what? You can go there tonight, and the women are right back there. Right, they just put a couple of little poles and some gates. It didn't defeat it didn't help the problem. And we're working closely with the district attorney, Sean Tier, because a lot of times when we were going after the women, they were in and out. I mean, some of them were in and out 4 or 5 times a month, right? And I know it's a crisis. I understand we have the empathy towards, because they're victims, right? They get victimized over and over and over. If they're not here, like you said, they're going to be back at Bissonnette, or they're going to be on the east side. So we are working diligently at it with the staffing that we have to ensure that these young women and sometimes men are helped in the way that they can get help, because a lot of it is substance abuse or chronic alcohol abuse, and those kinds of things are a blight in our community. Because I think I was at a super neighborhood off of Jensen in the middle of last year, same problem off of Tidwell. In fact, the state representative Armando Wale called in, hey, it was near his grandmother's home. So we tackled it, and again, we put 7 to 10 women in jail, and they're out in an hour. And that's what they know, so guess what? They're right back out. So it's, for us, it's not something that we just forget about. Our Vice Division, our teams here, our crime suppression teams are always looking at it, but we need your help. If you see it, please call. And obviously you see it. I mean, you described as scantily clad women everywhere, right? And that's not a safe environment for the community. It's not safe for our kids to see. And I want you to be able to go back and forth to the places that you worship and to school without having to see it. So that's a great question, but we're tackling it. Yes, ma'am. Yes, Ms. Dotson.
Houston Garden Civic Club.
Yes, ma'am.
At the corner of Homestead and Bennington. Homestead and Bennington it's Bennington on the right, Molly on the left. Traffic goes through there, bus goes, I think it's 77 Metro goes through there. And there are, they put a new detention pond. Harris County has put a new detention pond there. Well, there's a lot of traffic. Once they put the detention pond, the traffic started coming. And so they go behind the home, and it's a beautiful space. They made it real nice. They're shooting weekend, every single weekend. It's a ongoing issue. It's brought up a lot at the city meeting, and they say the police never show up. They never, and then when they show up, they ask questions like, "What type of gun was it?" We don't. Well, 311 asked the question, "What type of gun?" How many people you see? Questions that we're not really asked to just go out there and start asking questions and shooting, but it's an ongoing issue, and I don't know how to address it. When I talk to my Civic Club members, they're living it every weekend. It's in the same place. I even asked them to put in an alert system. Same place, same time, 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, shooting. And they're, like she said earlier, they're using big guns.
Big guns, right.
We're not talking about a little rifle, a little handgun.
Well, Ms. Dotson, we'll tackle it. We'll tackle it. As you're speaking, someone is taking a note of your description. So that's why we're here, right? I want to hear it from you and not through 911 in some sort of layered process. So the captain will hear we have a newly created patrol support team that can come out here for the call for service and then help the patrol people that are doing it come out with drones and other things, because our deal is to catch them. A lot of times it's kids in your neighborhood. A lot of times it's kids just making bad decisions, right? And for us, it's important that if you have that 14, 15-year-old young man at home, don't leave them to their own demise. Don't get in their faces. Don't FaceTime them. Get in their faces. Look what's on their phones, because it's dangerous, because it leads to an accident, an accidental shooting, some sort of tragedy, and that's not what we want. We want to make sure that the community is involved, because it truly takes a village, right? We're not here to judge anyone, to make an ugly comment about these young people. They're just growing up. They're trying. They're experimenting. They're out firing the guns and those kinds of things. So we'll address it and hopefully try to remedy your concern, because if it's a concern for you, Ms. Dotson, it's a concern for me. So someone's already taken a note of where you said, and we'll address it, and we'll close the loop and come back and visit with you. Yes, sir. Thank you for being patient.
Yes, now you sort of address with the cadets, but how many officers are you willing to dedicate to Northeast Houston, due to the fact that the northwest part of Houston, they have HPD officers. They have Metro PD officers. They're hiring more PD officers, and we're not seeing it, but we're paying for it. Now, our communities are paying for it. Now, I just had a hit and run where it took out a half a side of a fence. It took your officers over an hour and a half to respond to that hit and run when we're less than a half a mile away at the Northeast substation. These officers, they go through a lot.
They do.
But we need more officers in this area. If we're paying for it, then we need to be seeing the results.
Yes, I agree. I agree. And if you didn't hear him, his question was staffing, right? So I think, Captain, correct me if I'm wrong, we're in the north of 95% staffing in your station. So we're trying to get the numbers up there, and the station can use 20 people, right? But that's a commitment, right? Five of them, it's 100,000 per body, pretty much, by the time we uniform, outfit, and cars. So I know, we meet with the mayor twice a week on issues in the community, and we address them. So the next class, Northeast will get some staffing, because I want to make sure that we're making those changes, because the reality is that I need another 1,000 police officers tomorrow. That's the truth. Right, and you're hearing it from me, but I can't hire 1,000 people off the street right away. I mean, our academy right now is full. I mean, there's no more space to train kids in. So we're 9 weeks behind on the polygraphs to get people to come in, and that's a good problem to have. So bear with us. We're trying to grow as fast as we can. We'll have another class of cadets come out. Probably 4 or 5, maybe 6 will come to Captain French to address those issues. So it doesn't fall on deaf ears. We see the calls for service. We know where we're deficient, and we try to address it through technology, making sure that you're given the very best services. So I wish I could put 400 people at Northeast, and the people could come out and visit, and the police officers can visit with the kids and those kinds of things, but that's not the reality that I have. I have a limited staffing. I mean, there was 5,100 when I got here a year and a half ago almost. Now we're up to 5,400, right? So the staffing is coming, but I need your help, right? You guys are my #1 advocates. If you have kids in the community that are interested in becoming police officers, please send them our way. HPDcareer.org, you can get there, it'll give you all the information, or anybody here wearing these uniforms can help you out in getting the right people into this police department. Yes?
My question is, when are we going to combat littering? Littering is a gateway to illegal dumping. It's a social issue. So what happens is, when an area is inundated with illegal dumping, it signals that the area is tolerant of trash and waste and debris.
Right.
So if we are able to combat littering, what I mean by that is asking the mayor, along with your collaboration, to instruct the officers that illegal dumping is still on the books. it's a $500 fine. So that gets money for the city, that cleans our city. All we have to do is launch social media campaigns, the news, saying that Houston is not gonna tolerate littering and that you will be ticketed. It worked in the early 70s, late 70s and early 80s. You did not throw trash out because you were subjected to getting a ticket. Thank you, I yield back.
Thank you. Again, another question, we're tackling it, we're moving resources to trash because that's one of the biggest things. When I watch city council, everybody that comes up there to visit, it's about the trash, right? And it's not just so much the trash, but it's people probably not from our community here coming into our community and dumping rubbish, waste, branches, limbs. So it's terrible to do that to a community. So we're addressing it. I think recently I've posted some stuff online where we arrested people dumping chemicals into the bayou, dumping different kinds of chemicals into our gutters. So those are the kinds of things that we're tackling, but we need your help. If you see a car that you don't recognize, get the license plate. Everyone here has a cell phone, I'm pretty sure, right? Get on social media, share it. I think the Hood News is here, right? The Hood News is always helping us out with a lot of different things. So we watch it, and where we can help, we help, and we'll put resources on it because it's the mayor's priority to make sure that every community is getting services, and we have to stop the trash. We have to stop it getting dumped because it really, I look at it this way. If I'm 8 years old and I walk to school up here and there's a couch, a washer and dryer, an old dog kennel in the easement, in the middle of the road. I'm 8, I can't do anything, but that tells me that the adults don't care enough, right? And I'm telling you, if that's dumped somewhere else, it gets picked up right away. So that's the kind of resource that we're going to generate to make sure that gets fixed, because it not only does it look bad, this area of town has been flooded a lot, right? So all that stuff piled up into our ditches, into our waterways, hurts our community. So it's something that we're constantly, like I said earlier, it's just going round and round and round. We pick up, and we're addressing it with the DA. We're tracking the people that we've arrested recently to make sure that it's addressed appropriately through the judicial system. So that's a great question. Yes, ma'am. Thank you for being patient. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And I've seen during the holidays on our Esplanade.
Yes.
And it's not the neighbors, it's the neighborhood next to that. So
Yep.
once every trash comes and pick up,
Look, I can hear you.
once every trash pick up, it's clean, and then somebody else
Comes right back. Right.
So there's no fines, there's no consequences, because they think it's okay. I don't know why somebody would think it's okay to dump in the middle of a four-lane traffic street in the neighborhood. So there's no signs. I've been calling 311. I've tried to contact people to get signs. Now we can't get signs in the middle of these Esplanades, including Homestead, Parker. I live way down Parker.
So we're going to address this, right? So 311, call 311, call Crime Stoppers. I mean, because we're just getting it off the ground. So we're working towards it, but make sure that it's that you're identifying it, and we have our DRT team is tackling it every day. But it starts with us having to get the prosecution, and we're visiting with Shantier, the DA, to make sure, because it's terrible. And it's not just here, it's in Sunnyside, it's in 3rd Ward, it's in 5th Ward. People will drive down the road with a truck. I mean, we caught a kid that did an entire roofing job, and he had a giant drop trailer, and I think that was near 5th Ward. He just pulled up, it had a bay, and drove off, and he dumped probably 3 tons of debris in the middle of a street. Right? So those are the kinds of things that we have to tackle, but I need your help. If you see a car, all you have to do is tell us it's a white Dodge pickup, because it's usually going to be a dually or something like that. Get the information, store it, give the information to somebody else, and we'll track it, because the police department can't do it alone, but we can do it collectively, we can do it together. Hey, absolutely. But a lot of you people have Ring doorbell cameras, a camera on your home, something to help us, because like you said, we're focused on the priority 1 calls and those kinds of things, and the other events that happen, I really need your help on, because we're here to help you. We're here to make sure that that gets addressed immediately and it's prioritized. Yes. This is the last question, because I'm being told that it's going to be shut down, I think.
I live in the Denver Harbor community, and this is something, Denver Harbor community.
Okay.
And this is something that we have been addressing at the Civic Club for many, many years, decades.
Okay.
Now, we do call 311.
Okay.
We do call the police.
Right.
We do talk to our council members. We do talk to other at-large council members. I know I do.
Right.
Calling in for illegal dumping. And littering, yes, is a big problem.
It's a start,
It does show that we don't care. But those that do care, we are following the way that it's supposed to be.
Right.
But even though we are doing our part, and it's a small amount, we need you to do your part as well. Yes, we know that you have staffing issues,
Right.
but this is something that has been going on for decades.
Right. Oh, I know.
So you say that you wish that you had 1,000 tomorrow or yesterday,
Right.
but can't you pull a handful just to come into our area? I can tell you for a fact, no one comes into our neighborhood, HPD especially. We try to call them. We'll be on hold for 45 minutes to an hour and a half. We make our reports, and then we don't hear anything for 2, 3, 4 the next day. You know, and then when you come, the problem has already happened.
Right.
And what I hear from when I call dispatch, when I try to get some help, is like, okay, yeah, I'll write it down, I'll send somebody out. But really, the way it is in our neighborhood, we don't see HPD until after the fact that something happened.
Right.
We've had multiple gunshots, shootings, we've had multiple violences, you know, whether it's an aggravated assault, battery, burglary, whatever, carjacking.
Yes, ma'am.
It's always after the fact, only to clean up after the fact, because, like, you don't want to be bothered. I hear it, and it's like, well, do you think you can come so that somebody doesn't die today? And the guy just kind of had a dry chuckle, like, all right.
And that's unacceptable.
But yes, it is unacceptable.
It's unacceptable. I agree.
It's not something that I'm just telling you for the first
No,
time.
no.
I've talked to previous people that were in charge, like Commander Hatcher, or what was his name? Saddle White, and so on and so forth.
Right.
We have been addressing this for a really long time. Our neighborhood is mostly Hispanics and people of color.
Right.
We're an underserved, marginalized, disconnected neighborhood, and we are trying our best on our side on all levels.
Yes, ma'am.
But we're not being heard. You listen, but we're not being heard, and nothing is being done.
Right.
Now, I appreciate this meeting,
Right.
but I would really love to see results.
That's great. Thank you. Thank you for the commentary. I can hear the power of her voice, right? You speak the truth, and that's something and you're in Denver Harbor, you said? So again, I don't hear it. I'm here, and you will get some results, right? So that's what we're about. We're trying to fix a lot of things. And hey, I want you to have that attitude, because those are the expectations that you're used to. So we'll address it, okay? So thank you. And like I said, you're right, 1,000 people, but the department is staffed on the books for 6,500. It's never even gotten close to that. In fact, there was more police officers in 1997 than there are now. Right, so I hear what you're saying, and I thank you for the comments. I'll get one question from over there, and I got to wrap it up because they're going to close us up. Yes, ma'am.
I'm president of the Denver Harbor Civic Club.
All right.
Since I've been president of the Civic Club, I've worked really well with Northeast, especially Officer Miles, Captain French. I met him last year, so we really work together. I think the problem with us is when you look at the statistics for Denver Harbor, the calls of service are low, not because people are not calling, but as Ms. Robles said, the problem is getting through the dispatch. We've always been told to contact, because we get a lot of gunshot shootings up in the air now. They've always told us to call through the non-emergency number. We're waiting 45 minutes to get somebody to answer. And I think the problem with us is that people are discouraged, so they call precinct 6, make the phone call because it's faster.
Right.
So we look at calls, it's not that I'm not saying we're high crime, but we still got crime that's not reported because of getting through dispatch. That's the problem.
Right.
Was very upset when Acevedo was here when he took away the storefronts because he used the purpose that, or the excuse that we were short-staffed. They needed to move those officers back into patrol or whatever.
Right.
Great idea, but I think for our neighborhoods, I think the storefront worked because at one point people distrusted the police, but when we had the storefronts, we had officers there that the community get to know better. They reported more crime. I know in Denver Harbor when we had our storefront, Officer Smith, Gracie Smith, she was the best we've ever had there. She worked with the community really well. When we had any issues, the seniors would go to her and tell her the problems, if there was drug activity, guns. One lady reported that in our neighborhood they were selling guns, and police, HPD came and broke arms dealers, whatever you call it.
Right.
But we're missing that, and I know we keep saying we're short, but I think we need to go back into getting at least an officer, maybe not full-time, but at least partially time, to have them to go back into the community and work a few hours in all of our neighborhoods, and I think we can be doing a little bit more.
But I think that, I mean, the storefronts were kind of a construct of years and years of doing things that way, but then it became very inefficient, right? Because if I have to have a storefront, I have to staff it, right? It has to be CJIS compliant, right? It has to meet all the requirements because your personal information, I have to keep someone there all the time, and it just got so costly, right? And I'll give you an example. On Bel Air, the Vietnamese community wants a storefront, and they will give us a space, probably a little half of this gym. But then what happens is, no one wants to fix the air condition. No one wants to pay for the trash to get picked up. No one wants to pay to clean it, right? So when we are always really thin with your tax dollars, those kinds of decisions are really tough, because I understand the value, because you're used to that with Gracie Smith, right? You made a connection with that. So, and I'm sorry, I take responsibility because I didn't close them, but there's only one open, and it's just in the Gulfton area. So we are trying to, it's always been a staffing issue, right? So this is my concern now. We're getting the right people in. The good mayor has increased the salaries, has fixed the pension. For the first time ever, the police department actually purchases a gun for the officers, right? So a lot of things have happened in the short time Mayor Whitmire's been here in the positive to increase the staffing. And I still need your help. You're the advocate, right? You need to keep calling. Denver Harbor is just as important to me as River Oaks, right? Because you have the stomach and the guts to come here and face us. And that's why I bring it to you, because I don't want people to say that, well, we only have the PIP in downtown Houston, no one ever comes. Because if we don't hear it from you, if we're not engaged in a constructive conversation, then we're not getting our point across, right? And I don't hear from you, so it'll go on my big board when I get back to the office in the morning to address the issues. And I thank you for being a super neighborhood person, right? And that's engaged, because that community is important to you. I mean, everything that you have, your treasure, your home, You're raising your family there. You've raised family there, so it's important to you. So it's important to us as well. So that's why this is kind of just the first of a lot of meetings that we're going to come in and visit and engage, and hopefully we'll have some results where you'll see a patrol officer or you'll see somebody. I'm working towards it every day. For the mayor and I, it's a 7-day-a-week job. If it's not that, Airbnb, it's the after-hours clubs. If you have young people at home, tell them to go home at 2 o'clock. Don't stay out till 5 in the morning at the nightclubs, right? Because nobody is regulating it. There's no security there. No one's managing the bartender. There's drugs and guns. And I want kids to come and socialize and hang out, but at 2 o'clock, go home, right? Don't go look for trouble because you'll find the trouble, right? Unfortunately. And catastrophic things happen when you're at 3 or 4 in the morning. You may go to a building that doesn't have any fire exits, right? That is serving food that's been there probably for 2 weeks, right? Because no one's inspecting it. So please make sure if you have those young people around you that you communicate with them. Like remember, get in their face. Get in their face. Don't just FaceTime people. So we've got to shut the place down because they gave us a very small window. But I want to thank you for communicating with us and addressing it. And anything that you have concern, there's some staff will stay here, take a note, and we'll discuss it, and then we'll close the loop. We will get a call back from someone at the office to make sure that what your concern is addressed. Because we're here to help. We're here to serve you. We're not here to just drive around, hang out. We want to get the feedback to make sure that we are operating at the most efficient level for your concerns. So thank you. Have a good night. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
Now, watch this guy, man. Sometimes
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jim Mallard. I am the manager for the Crime Analysis and Research Division. And so I wanted to briefly give you an overview of some citywide stats. We do this at all of our citywide PIPs, and this is sort of a preview of what we'll be presenting to DPS in a few months once we get everything reconciled to close out the year. So as Chief mentioned, we're a big city, we've got big numbers, but we're seeing significant decreases across the board in our violent crime categories, double-digit decreases, total violent crime down almost 20%, 19.2%. In property crimes, very significant decreases. The only category we're seeing increases, and it was a small increase of about 1,200 additional thefts this year. So about 9% decrease in nonviolent crime, and grand total about 11% down over the prior year. And as I said, we've got some late reports to come in, and we're going to reconcile those. So the percentages will change a little bit, the numbers will change a little bit, but this is pretty close to what it's going to end up at. So those are our crime stats citywide. And I also wanted to let you know, if you have a phone, you can scan that QR code, but we have a map called Community Crime Map, and you can go out and set up alerts, whether it's Denver Harbor, wherever. You can get notified about crime that happens in that area. It'll send you notifications. If you're curious about what happened down the street, you can pull up this map. Okay, it's communitycrimemap.com. You can take a picture of it or scan the code. It's a really easy website to use. We publish the data all the time. It's a very good resource for finding out what's going on, for the things that you're interested in. So I'd encourage you to sign up for the alerts on communitycrimemap.com. Okay? Everybody get it? You got a picture of it? And then on our website, which is houstontx.gov/police, or you can just Google Houston Police Department. We have a section on reports and publications, and we also have a section on crime data. So every month, we publish reports about what's going on in Houston, all of our crime stats. We publish reports to be as transparent as we can about the things that are going on and the things that are reported in the community. So I would encourage you to go to our website, look at our reports and publications, and also the crime data to help keep you aware of what's going on and to be engaged about what's being reported in the community. So that's all I have for you. Thanks again, and there are some of those Chick-fil-A nuggets over there, so don't let them sit there. Thanks.
Hello, my name is Sergeant Patrick Morrissey. I'm the supervisor over the Environmental Investigation Squad with the Major Offenders Division here at HPD. My squad is we're tasked with investigating environmental crimes. Our group Our group investigates pretty much everything from water pollution, hazardous waste cases, and illegal dumping. Our unit is made up of, we have 4 investigators, we have 4 classified investigators, that's 4 police officers, we have 4 civilian investigators, and we have 2 detective sergeants. We all work together. Our main focuses, so one of the big focuses things to think about is hazardous waste dumping, right? What is in the trash? What is actually specifically being dumped? We investigate that. Things from oils, chemicals, medical waste. We're the petrochemical capital of the world here. Houston, Texas, we have the Port of Houston. We have the Texas Medical Center. Mishandled hazardous waste. Here's a company that was dumping their waste right down the drain. The company knew that they were dumping, and they basically decided to do it because it was the easiest, most efficient option for them. Water pollution cases. We have a boat that goes on the ship channel. We monitor the ship channel for releases. Critical incidents, but I think one of the main specific reasons why we're here is illegal dumping. Illegal dumping is a disposal of unwanted waste, either commercial or residential, illegally in the environment. It follows very specific. Illegal dumping goes by weight. So if someone were to dump something that is 5 pounds and under, it's going to be a Class C charge. From 5 pounds to 200 pounds is a Class B. From 200 pounds to 1,000 pounds, it is a Class A, and then over 1,000 pounds, it is a state jail felony. Then we also have illegal dumping for a commercial purpose. That specifically is when someone goes and dumps for a commercial purpose. They're getting some type of financial gain from that dump site. As the chief spoke of, we caught the gentleman who was dumping roofing material. His commercial gain was he's charging you for your roof and for the disposal. He's pocketing that money instead of going to the dump. Not to mention time, effort, and manpower. Here are some examples of some of our most recent cases that we just recently worked. Shout out to Grizzy for one of them, for the dumping, for the gentleman dumping the roofing waste. We had the gentleman who was dumping cleaning materials down the drains and lighting it on fire. And then we also had, we get a lot of the dump truck dumpers, right? Where do they go take their dirt instead of going across town so they can do more loads? They go and dump it on an empty lots that they find. So how do we get our quick run for 2025? Our investigators investigated about 1,000 cases. We had 115 arrests, 105 charges filed, 111 citations. We wrote 754 original reports. We completed 1,900 supplements, and we conducted 1,391 interviews with different suspects and complainants. Our officers handled about 1.1 million pounds of illegally dumped waste. That is directly associated to our officers finding it, locating it, and then referring it to solid waste or getting it cleaned up, trying to find the actual responsible party. How do you report illegal dumping? One thing is we have a tip line over at our table. We have some cards, some pamphlets, has the phone numbers and where you can call. We have a camera program, 311. The best thing you can do is call 311. They have a huge they have a huge documentation process. We refer to 311 on where we need to go. The more complaints, the more cleanup requests that go to spots, we go follow up to see, okay, this is a spot that needs specific directed action, we work with other city departments. We have state and national agencies. We get calls, so when you talk to your council member, it goes to the chief's office, it comes down to us. We work with solid waste, Department of Neighborhoods, because again, this is not just a police problem, not just a solid waste problem. It's something we all have to work together to kind of get solved. And we also our group has an environmental enforcement task force. We have officers that are with the FBI over at the Weapons of Mass Destruction group. We have officers that we work with the EPA, the State Commission on Environmental Quality, the City of Houston, Public Works, the DA's office. The main thing we're talking about, if you see something, say something. Without your help, we can't investigate it. Without you guys seeing the person, getting a license plate, getting a video, getting a picture of the person, when did it happen? What details can you help give us so that way we can find the person? Shout out to Grizzy. The perfect thing that helps is the license plate and a picture of their face. Many times, because we need to prove who did it, who was driving, and who did the dumping. A good clear photo of the car, of the person, that goes miles. Because that person, if they don't want to talk to us, we still have to be able to, We still have to be able to prove that they did the dumping. Well, if they refuse to talk, refuse to make a comment, here's a video of you doing the dumping. There's not much more they can refute from that. How can you prevent dumping at your area? We get a lot of calls from businesses. What can they do? What needs to be done? Do things like install floodlights, fence your property, game cameras, some type of camera surveillance footage. We talk about ring cameras at your house. No dumping signs, maintain your property, mow. Trash negates trash, right? We talk about if someone dumps trash, if it's littering, if it's left there, then it becomes a bag, then it becomes a mattress, then it becomes a couch. Well, why did the person dump there? Is that yard mowed? Is that street kept clean? Are the neighbors out talking with each other and being part of their, being involved, right? That person's gonna drive down the street, and if they see someone sitting out looking at them and staring at them as they drive down the street, is that person gonna stop there and dump, or are they gonna go to the next street? So what we do is we get together and the first street does it, the second street does it, the third street does it. Eventually, hopefully, they're either at the dump and they make the right decision and do it, or we push them so far away from our communities and our neighborhoods, we don't have to worry about it. So again, get to know your neighbors, neighborhood watches, reach out to Grizzly, get videos, get documentation. Here are some QR codes. The top one leads you to the City of Houston. We have an online reporting system. The bottom left is HTX Collects. It'll tell you when your trash service is. The right takes you to 311, where you can directly report a basically illegal dump site, trash site, missed pickup trash. Our tip line at the top is 713-525-2728. If you don't remember that, always remember 311. Many times, they will route those calls to us. If there's a suspect description, there's information on what we can follow up on, they will route it to us. And I will defer to the next one. We'll be over on the side with some information and documentation. More than happy to help talk with y'all and help y'all out. Thank you.
There you go, sir.
My name is Zachary Becker, and I am the captain of the Vice Division. Thank you all for having us out today. I know that we're at the end of our time, and so I'm going to, out of respect for your time, go through this a little more quickly than I normally would. But I will stick around afterwards. If anyone has any questions, anything they want to discuss, I'm happy to stay and discuss. So Vice Division is responsible for a number of types of investigations. Prostitution, of course, is something that everybody classically thinks of. Human trafficking, very closely related. All the sexually oriented businesses and clubs throughout the city. Gambling, illegal game rooms, any kind of illegal card operation. Clubs, the after-hours clubs, the bars and nightclubs, and we also do tobacco enforcement as part of the state's overtime program. What's human trafficking? Why am I talking about it in regards to prostitution? Many of the people that are involved in prostitution, sadly, are victims of human trafficking, and what that means, quite simply, is force, fraud, and coercion. Somebody is using physical force, defrauding them, or coercion to cause them to work, either in some sort of labor capacity or in prostitution, which is probably the bulk of what we see. Where can you find these victims? They're all over the place, of course. Labor trafficking, a little bit harder to detect, but sex trafficking, of course, we all know the internet ads, cantinas, bars, streets. I know that y'all are familiar with the issues that we have out here. Who and why? The why, quite simply, is there's a lot of money in it. If you can find somebody to work for you for effectively no money and make them do work they don't want to do, but there's a high demand for, there's a lot of money in that. Who it is? A lot of kids involved. The UN says about 40% worldwide. It's going to vary, but obviously the problem is way too many kids. Red flags for sex trafficking. If you were to notice, you had a child or a young person that you interact with, and you notice all of a sudden that they have an older boyfriend or girlfriend, unexplained injuries, new tattoos, or maybe they're all of a sudden able to spend a whole lot more money than they should, that could be a clue. Sometimes you'll see branding, like tattoos, of course the inappropriate clothing, that sort of thing. And why don't they seek help? Well, there's a lot of stigma involved, obviously, a lot of shame. They may obviously have a lot of fear of retribution from their trafficker, what we used to call pimps. We now call them what they are, which is human traffickers. Who are they? They're everybody. All of these people that are pictured there have all been arrested for some version of human trafficking. And how are they recruited? Oftentimes, they're recruited young, and it's online these days. Promises of money, freedom from their overbearing parents. There's sextortion. There's, you name it. So what do we do about it? Obviously, we do a lot of crime analysis to identify where we're seeing patterns. We're in constant contact with all the patrol divisions. Big shout out to Captain French out here at Northeast Division. His folks are after it every single day. The next step is we go in and, of course, do our covert and overt operations. Covert just meaning undercover. We will go do your traditional prostitution stings, and we will also do what is called reversals or John operations, where we put an undercover officer posing as a prostitute on the street. They're solicited, and then we make a case against the buyer. The good news now is that Texas has made buying prostitution a felony offense from the first get-go. So the idea is we're trying to drive down demand. What happens after that? Well, obviously someone goes to jail, and then it's in the DA's office. The DA's office has a pretrial diversion program for prostitution, which on the seller side, which is a misdemeanor, or we may try to generally intervene and identify victims of human trafficking before they get charged. And we've been pretty successful. In the last year, I want to say it was 86 victims that 86 victims of human trafficking, 44 of whom were juveniles. Pretty big number. We work with all these NGOs, these nonprofits, and others to try to get these folks into services, get them long-term shelter, job training, counseling, you name it. Street investigations, you can imagine what that looks like. You're familiar if you've been in the Tidwell 59 Dodson area, and you can't really see it here, but basically, we're talking about an area that's not a hard boundary, but in this area, we're out there multiple times a week, daytime, nighttime, on the street, in hotels. We're constantly working out there, working with Captain French's hotspot units. Hotel investigations give us a chance to really use our intelligence to target people that we think are being trafficked. We set up dates for them to come to the hotels. They're wired for sound, and then we're able to intervene. And typically, we get, and I want to emphasize also, juveniles, anyone under 18, we do not charge them with crimes. Anybody who's under 18 and is in this world is a victim. They may not realize it when they interact with us, but they are. Those kids get referred to what's called Harris County Triad. They get into services, and we go on from there. The hotel operations also give us a really great opportunity to identify the traffickers, because they're bringing them to the hotel. And as I said, these operations, 20, 30 officers undercover, lots of surveillance. It takes a lot of effort, but we get some excellent results out of it. The Northeast Tidwell area, in 2025, we made, if I did my math right, 281 arrests out there. You can see about half for buyers on the right there, not about half for sellers. That yellow line, those are the sellers, and those are all misdemeanors. There are a few who are charged with felony prostitution. That means they've had multiple convictions for prostitution. They were charged, a third, fourth, fifth time, what have you. On the right, the buyers, and they were for all 2025, all male, and those are all felony charges. Another thing that we do is we go out and write tickets, and after we write tickets, amongst other things, we gather up all of the documentation of all the things that have gone on, all the crimes that have occurred, all the prostitution that's occurred, and we present those cases to the city attorney's office for what's called a Chapter 125 nuisance abatement investigation, basically where the city sues a property to say you're a nuisance because you've got all these crimes occurring here. We're currently in that process with the Mustang Inn. It's not a overnight thing, but it's in the works. Okay, if you have a tip to make, you can give our office a call, 713-308-8600. If you suspect that there is a person in your life who may be being trafficked, you can have them call the National Human Trafficking Hotline. This is going to be my last slide, so I'll leave it up there so y'all can take a picture. There's a text, 233-733, or the 888 number. Obviously, a life-threatening situation, everybody should call 911, right? But if this is intelligence or a tip, feel free to give a call to one of those numbers. That is my time. Thank you very much. I will stick around if you have any questions.
Thank you, Captain. All right. As we get ready to close out tonight's meeting, I want to once again thank everybody, all the presenters, community partners, our leadership, and each one of you all for being here. Your presence, your questions, your involvement, that's what keeps PIP strong. And before we officially conclude, and I'll allow you to go over here to our resource tables and take something home with you, get some more information, we want to leave you with the motto that guides the program. If you have the time, get involved. If you don't have the time, make the time. It's your neighborhood, it's your city. Thank you all for being here tonight. Be safe, stay engaged, and we look forward to seeing you all at the next Citywide PIP.